This is probably one of the craziest ban lists ever released in the history of the game. They just had an interrupted broadcast from Jerome himself, dropping the ban list at the end of YCS Houston, and here's what happened. So Unlimited, Cyberjar, The Dangers, Ava, and Monkey Board. Yeah, these don't do anything. We all know that the Unlimited section has been somewhat of a meme. Like, none of the changes to Unlimited have really made any significance in, like, the past couple of years. Traditionally, these cards have been able to come off the ban list, like, a long time ago, and they just don't do anything. Like, Cyberjar, The Dangers, I don't see any impact from these cards, so not much to be discussed there. But if we get to the semi-limited, here's where things actually impact the game. So we're seeing a lot of changes here. First and foremost, Black Dragon Collapse Serpent. So the two dragons, white and black. For Dragon Link lovers, doesn't really do anything there. Those cards have been power crept as is. But next is what gets really interesting. So we're seeing X Ryzeo, Ice Ryzeo, Malice Dormouse, White Rabbit, Sword Ryzeo, and Malice in Underground. We're seeing all of the Ryzeos get hit as well as the Malice cards, all to 2. What does this tell us? Well, anytime they do something like the semi-limited, it's obviously hit the consistency. It doesn't really kill the engine by any means. This kind of tells me what we've known so far with Konami being a somewhat business-driven in terms of making their ban list decisions alongside the R&D. Yes, like the gameplay is important, but the other hand, they really care about the business. They've realized that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a really competitive-driven game, right? Selling products relies on competitive players actually buying the good decks out there. It's not like Pokemon or Magic where people actually go out and crack packs just because they like the cards and they collect. Instead, we have a lot less casual community. In Yu-Gi-Oh! It's very competitive driven, and they really have to cater. And knowing that there's a new Star Ryzeo card as well as a new Malice name coming out that are really powerful for the deck, they probably realize that they still have to sell those cards. So they want these decks to still be good, obviously, right? So that's why they probably just hit these cards to 2. But again, I'm happy. It's consistency hits, which already the decks were bricking quite a bit with everything at 3. So I'm fine with that. Morphing Jar doesn't do anything. That can go to 3. I don't even know why that's there. But Snake Eye Ash and Popular is kind of interesting. So they brought Bonfire to 1, which we're going to see in a second here. So I guess you can bring these cards back. I don't really think that Snake Eye is doing a lot with OSS at 1, but it's kind of interesting. Potentially you can integrate these into the White Force stuff that's coming up. So that's kind of neat how these cards are now back at 2 apiece. Maybe there's a way to make Snake Eyes somewhat better. With the fact that Bonfire is at 1, though, again, you're not really doing much. It's just giving back 2 copies of these cards for 2 copies of Bonfire, which is a trade into like Drone Lockbird. But yeah, Shavara is another interesting one. This is great for Unchained decks. Previously, they only had 1 that basically neutered the engine, but now having 2 also for Yugioh and other Fiend deck players. I think this is a really, really nice addition. Obviously, being able to make rank 6s or the DDD Wave High King really easily is really cool. I'm happy with these semi-limits. Also, I've not seen this many names on the ban list for a long time. Limited, Jerusalem. This is an indirect hit to Bystios as well as Malice, obviously, because, you know, this is one of the best Bystios after Magnemite. Having that on-field send effect is really, really important. So, I mean, yeah, sure, you can hit this card. Obviously, it just sometimes is a bit too much of a push if you're playing a light-based deck and they have the Jerusalem, they link it off, they send something. Shifter to 1. Hallelujah. They finally hit Shifter after forever. This should have been banned ages ago. But at 1 or ban Shifter, I think that is the same thing. No one's going to play 1 copy of Shifter. That just doesn't make sense. You're just going to brick on it. And Shifter, I think the reason why they didn't ban it originally is probably because Konami Japan was like, we want casual players to actually have a chance at this game. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a really, really complicated game. A lot of players are diving in from Master Duel. And having cards like Shifter allow them to auto-win and, you know, have some gratitude by winning from this card. So either way, I'm glad it took them this long, but whatever. I'm glad they finally hit this card. Masterpiece and Circular. So yeah, Link Decoder got banned, so Mathmech are a lot weaker now, which I'm really happy about, but I don't think they're really going to do as much. They're probably like a rogue tier 2, tier 3 deck. It's just been a little bit power crept. Now Ryzeo being like the better rank 4 deck. Masterpiece is not going to do anything either. We already have trap cards like Solemn Strike and Imperm now, as well as just monsters that can beat over it, so I don't think it's as relevant as it previously was. You know, even having 2 like Ryzeo names going into Detonator, it would threaten like to swing over the Masterpiece. Detonator, however, to 1. This really hurts. I was surprised that they actually did this because this actually does kind of kill the pure deck. Now having 1 copy of Metatronus just outs the Detonator for good because it gets banished face down. Bonfire is a consistency hit. We saw this coming because 7 Tachyon kind of replaces that in the pure deck. I don't know. How good is the pure deck going to be? We saw a lot of consistency hits. Bonfire is now to 1 and Detonator is to 1, which is probably the most impactful Ryzeo hit out of all of them. Brilliant Fusion back to 1. This is kind of cool because we're getting some brand new Gem Knight support on the horizon. It doesn't really do anything, and I think Gem Knight players will rejoice because that deck is kind of cool. I'm pretty sure they can search search Brilliant Fusion as well. Cross-Out Designator and Talents. Cross-Out Designator and Talents go to 1 is one of the best hits on the ban list. I've been advocating for these cards to go to 1 forever now. It's just so unfair. The formats have devolved to the point right now where going first, players just siding 3 copies of Cross-Out, 3 copies of Designator going first, or just main decking them, and it just makes going first so powerful. Like, the whole point of hand traps was to make it so players can actually go second in this game, but when these cards exist, you just can't play. With Tactics specifically, ripping an opponent's hand, getting free hand knowledge is just insane. And now with these cards to 1, I think going first is going to be a lot, or going second rather, is going to be a lot better, because going first, they're not going to have these many tools. But that being said, I think Triple Tactics Thrust, digging for Talents going second, just a 1 copy, I think that's fine still. So Thrust might see a lot more play, and it's a lot worse than Talents going first, right? So that's what we really care about here. I'm glad these cards are hit on the ban list. And then last but not least, a ban. Nightmare Griffin, Link Decoder, Abyss Dweller, and Bahamut Shark. So Griffin has been traditionally a card that comes in and out of formats. It's been really degenerate. Previously, people have set cards like Anti-Spell Fragments off of it in combination with Beatrice. The on-field effect, Floodgate, negating or preventing monster effects from activating is insanely powerful. It's really good in Malice, so I'm glad they hit it. And then Link Decoder, another thing in Malice. So with this, anytime they have 3 bodies, they just make Link Decoder, make like a White Binder or a Red Ransom, and then Link Decoder will come back. So even if you Imperm or Valor the Link 3, that means they can just make SP Little Knight and banish the Link 3 and still get like the full combo. But now with Link Decoder out of the equation, Cyberstecks no longer have free extra body. Now if they make Link 3 and you go Imperm or Valor, they don't get the Link Decoder back, so they have to physically have another extender name in order to go into SP Little Knight to banish that Link 3, right? So that's really, really heads up. I'm glad that they did this. It's also future-proof for like Cyberstecks to just have insane body spam thanks to this card, so it's great that they hit this card. Dweller has been a card that's been super toxic. Should have been banned ages ago. We saw this in Tier Limits format. It's one of the sole cards that made that format somewhat not skillful, is the fact that Dweller just shuts everything off. Blanket effects, I hate them, and I'm glad we're finally addressing some of these cards like Shifter, Dweller. Bahamut Shark is another thing that's really toxic in Mermails, being able to set up like multiple Toads and then trigger the Dragoons. By the way, guys, now with Dweller and Bahamut Shark banned, Mermail only has 1 single generic rank 4 card that they can use on their turn 1, rank 4 water monster to trigger Dragoons. It's, I think, one of the Pendulum monsters that doesn't really do anything. He detaches for cost and he puts himself in the Pendulum zone. So that's the only way they search off Dragoons. No more free Toad, which I am really happy about. Overall, I'm really, really excited about this ban list. I think they did a really, really phenomenal job hitting all the cards that needed to be hit. The only thing that's missing from this ban list, evidently, is the Fiendsmith cards. How the heck did they not hit anything? I mean, I know they just got reprinted and they have to sell it, but at least hit like Fiendsmith in Paradise, like the trap, so then that way Lacrima is not an additional disruption, right? We don't want them to be able to set up multiple disruptions. So Fiendsmith is a starter, it's an extender, and it's a crazy card in the grind game because you get infinite follow-up. It's just infinite by recycling things to your extra deck, right? So I don't know why they didn't hit that at all. Like some consistency hits, track to 1, Fiendsmith Engraver to 1 would help. But overall, you know, it is what it is. I guess we're just gonna have to wait for the next ban list for Fiendsmith to finally go away. I think in this format, it's gonna be largely Fiendsmith reliant because that engine is still around. I think Fiendsmith Razio is still gonna be a really, really good deck. And then the other card that they're missing is Magnamod. This is a card that I thought should have been banned a while ago. It just does too much. It's 2 hand traps rolled into 1. You get to banish the light or dark. Then in the end phase, you search for any dragon. Another Bistio, Druid Swarm, instant rank 6, or Link 2, get the send effect, or just search for a Dragon Starter. Honestly, I don't really like this card being in the game. It makes Seals a lot better as well. But hey, you know, I can't complain. They hit a lot of the problematic cards that we were asking for them to hit as a player base, so what more can we ask for, really? I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Let me know in the comments below.